One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham. Breaking news into the Fanfare newsfeed.
Well,
Good evening, everyone. I'm Laura Ingram. This is the Ingram Angle from Minnesota tonight. This is a Fox News alert. Breaking news out of Portland. Police are confirming that 2 people are in the hospital following a shooting involving federal agents. We're going to monitor the situation and bring you more as we get it. Tensions are very high, though, tonight, apparently across the country. But tonight in Minneapolis, where agitators have been clashing with ICE all day after a deadly shooting with an agent.
All right, so now we have a second shooting. The people who got shot in Portland, it's an evolving story. Nobody has all the information yet. 2 people were shot. They have not died. They're in the hospital, but things are getting really squirrely. Protect yourselves. Be ready. Be as ready as you possibly can be, because things are about to get nuts. If you think they've been nuts so far, they're going to get even nuttier. These people, as I've said many times, they have nothing, and so they're going to be resorting to violence. Before I get into the show, just want to let you know, at 9 p.m., President Trump is scheduled to be on Hannity. As soon as that comes on, we will obviously jump to it. We've got some news to cover before then. So what I'd like to start with is show you some things that President Trump talked about today, which are effing fantastic. Breaking news, and this was at 6:38 p.m. Numbers released today show that the United States of America has the lowest trade deficit since 2009. For those of you who are math challenged, that's a long time ago. That would be 17 years, and going even lower. In addition, our nation's GDP, gross domestic product, is predicted, and this is insane, absolutely insane, is predicted to come in at over 5%. That is unheard of. Absolutely. Wow. And that's after losing at least 1.5% to the Democrat shutdown. Let me just tell you, they're going to try and shut it down again. We got a couple weeks, and here we go all over again. The Democrats, with everything that's happening in Minnesota and now in Portland, and seeing the economy take off, they can do nothing but try to put the brakes on this, and they will try. These incredible numbers and the unprecedented success of our country are a direct result of the tariffs, which have rescued our economy and national security. I hope the Supreme Court is aware of these historic country-saving achievements prior to the issuance of the most important ever decision. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. There are some people who are thinking that we may get the Supreme Court decision as soon as tomorrow. We may have the decision on the tariffs as soon as tomorrow. If, just telling you, it can go two ways. It can go no, or it can go yay. If it goes no, things are going to get really nuts. People are going to have lawsuits against the United States. They're going to try and reclaim all kinds of money. Things will get crazy. It will be horribly bad. So I hope you've got your gold and your silver, because things would get bad. If they say yes, I hope you've got your gold and your silver, because to the moon. To the moon. One side, you better be hedging your bets. The other side, you better be ready to strap on the rocket. I personally don't understand how they could possibly say no, but none of us has a crystal ball, and none of us were inside the room with those 9 Supreme Court justices. Let's just hope they do the right thing. Then this was absolutely huge as well. Biden ignored the housing market and instead was immersed with high crime, open borders, runaway inflation, the Afghanistan disaster, and a military that he left in chaos and confusion. Everything was broken, but I, as President of the United States, have already fixed it. Now I'm giving special attention to the housing market. So listen up if you're looking to buy a house anytime soon. Because I chose not to sell Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac in my first term, a truly great decision, and against the advice of the so-called experts, it is now worth many times that amount, an absolute fortune, and has $200 billion in cash. Because of this, I am instructing my representatives to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds. This will drive mortgage rates down. Also, we know Jerome Powell will be gone pretty soon. Monthly payments will go down, and the cost of owning a home will be much more affordable. It is one of my many steps in restoring affordability, something that the Biden administration absolutely destroyed. We are bringing back the American dream. That was destroyed by the last administration. So now the housing bonds or the mortgage bonds that he's going to buy is going to cause a ripple effect with the mortgage companies. This man is doing such a phenomenal job on so many different fronts. You have to wonder, how can they possibly stop him? Well, you're seeing what they're trying to do. You see what they're trying to drum up. Will they be successful? I doubt it, because I think if he has to, I think he must invoke the Insurrection Act and put these people away. Absolutely put these people away. I just don't think he can risk doing anything that's going to cause problems with America. Now I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show it to you. Probably not going to make a whole lot of comment. I'm just going to bring it up and just let you guys see it. This is from an official administration account. All right, you ready? I'm not going to get into it because these people here won't let me talk about it. I have to do it on Rumble. But I'm just going to show this to you. This is on a U.S. Department of Labor profile. Trust the plan. Some of you may be thinking, well, what does that mean? What exactly are they saying? And here's President Trump at the Army, I would say Army-Navy game, saluting, trust the plan. It was trending about 30 or 40 minutes ago, and people are losing their frickin' mind. I can't tell you everything associated with that phrase, but I'm sure if you get on X, or I'm sure there's some people in the chat right now who are going winky dinky and going, oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, and by the way, just want to let you know, for those of you who understand what's going on, it was posted at 5:27 p.m. Some of you who know how to look up the so-called drops may want to see what happened in number 527. I know I'm sounding vague. I know it sounds like, well, Barry, what are you talking about? You're talking in code. I'm not talking in code. Somebody in that office is talking in code. I'm just showing it to you. This is like forbidden fruit. We're not supposed to even discuss this. It's the one thing I think at this point between the jab-a-demic that nobody is allowed to speak of. You must get that information on your own. I'm just providing you the lookup. Because I'm looking at some of the comments on here is like, are you kidding me? Are you effing kidding me? It's like that. So I'm just leaving it at that. You guys can do your own investigation. You can talk amongst yourselves, but that got posted. That just happened. So the people in Minnesota, which I'm sure is going to be the same as Portland, they're doing it in New York. They're doing it in Seattle. This one was a little bit much. Protesters in New York City are calling for, yes, you're reading that correctly, the hanging of Secretary Kristi Noem and the execution of ICE agents. And you can see this in the footage. Can't play it here, just tell you about it. One woman pushed back saying two wrongs don't make a right and was immediately drowned out. The mob also started chanting, F Charlie Kirk. Kristi Noem will hang, save a life, kill an ICE, F Charlie Kirk. It's starting. Desperation is beginning to set in with these people. They know there's no way out. They're going to have to find a way to pull the pin to stop the Trump administration. And I just think this is going to continue to get worse. So let me just segue from that and just tell you, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on Minnesota. I'd rather look at the bigger picture of what's actually going on. I played for you this afternoon. Scott Bessent said it maybe $300 to $600 billion has been stolen in fraud annually. Things are falling apart for these people. We know about USAID. We know about Ukraine. All the spigots. We haven't even started going after the education department yet. All the spigots are being turned off, and they're trying to get the band back together. Now, this little Miss Goody Two-Shoes, Renee Nicole Good, as you would expect, people are starting to dig into her background. And as they're digging into her background, they're finding some things. Let me see if I can't shrink this so you guys can see it here. I don't know if you guys saw this. Miss Innocent is not just plain Miss Innocent. Miss Innocent here, there we go. Renee Nicole Good was the, quote, Minneapolis Ice Watch warrior. She was trained to resist feds. Who the hell trained this woman? What do you mean she was trained? She's an operative. Now I guess she's a casualty of war. Says Minneapolis, Renee Nicole Good, the mom who was killed by a federal agent after veering her car towards him, was an anti-ICE warrior. And was part of a group of activists who worked to document and resist the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota. You won't hear this on CNN. You won't hear this on MS, whatever it's called. You probably won't hear it on CBS or ABC or anything like that either. Good, who moved to the city last year, linked up with the anti-ICE activists through her 6-year-old son's woke charter school, which boasts that it puts social justice first and prioritizes involving kids in political and social activism. Using your kids, using a 6-year-old and getting them involved in social activism. Definitely not going to be mom of the year. She was a warrior. She died doing what was right, a mother named Liasa says, whose child attends the same school. I knew she was doing the right thing. I watched the video plenty of times, but I also know in my heart the woman she was doing everything right. Good and her wife, Rebecca, were raising the boy together in the mostly working class, activist heavy network of South Minneapolis, which features tree-lined streets and a large number of homes with windows decked out in, wait for it, LGBTQ plus flags or signs depicting George Floyd. So Miss Good is a warrior of sorts, she calls herself. Okay. Just as many others did in the lefty enclave, Good sent her son to Southside Family Charter School, a K through 5 academy opened in 1972, which has from its inception been unabashedly dedicated to social justice education. Oh my God, you're ruining the kids. It was through her involvement in the school community that Good became involved in ICE Watch, a loose coalition of activists dedicated to disrupting ICE raids in the sanctuary city. So understand what happened. This woman moved, I assume, from Colorado to Minnesota for the sole purpose of becoming an ICE warrior. This wasn't some innocent mom. She wasn't in the 4-H club. She wasn't just making biscuits and gravy in Minnesota on a cold morning. She was an ICE warrior. And I'm not talking the kind with frozen water. She was an operative. She planned to come here to be an ICE warrior. This is the kind of stuff that just makes your blood boil. From my understanding, she was involved in social justice. We are a tight-knit community, and a lot of parents are. Former Southside gym teacher Rashad Rich said, who resigned from the school last month. He said current event topics like the taken out of George Floyd were regular parts of the curriculum, and that last month students took a field trip where they learned about Aboriginal issues. That'll help you get a job. A reference to the indigenous people of faraway Australia. So in addition to like ruining your kids about and forcing George Floyd on them, now you also are teaching them about Aboriginals in Australia, which nobody cares about. So Australia, I guess, is stolen land, and we can't have these people being Aborigines here. That's racist or something. And here are some of the things that I guess these are on her. I don't know if this is her post, but somebody. Oops, wrong thing. Somebody was posting, and it says here, keep track of ICE vehicles in your area. They had a database that they put up. Another one, it says how to submit reports to Minnesota ICE Watch. Similar coalitions to ICE Watch have cropped up all over the country with activists using phone apps, whistles, you heard them, car horns to warn neighborhoods when ICE shows up. ICE Watch and adjacent groups can also turn confrontational. You don't say. Wait a minute. They can sometimes turn confrontational. Interesting. Thank you. ICE Watch and adjacent groups can turn confrontational with numerous instances, highlight that, with numerous instances of activists ramming agents with their cars in the past. So all those people out there, these defense attorneys, This doesn't look good for the ICE agent. You spoke a little bit too soon. You spoke before you knew this woman was a foot soldier in an organization that is known for ramming ICE agents. Renee was trained against these ICE agents, what to do, what not to do. It's a very thorough training. All right, stop there. Who's doing this training? Who's funding this training? Where are they training them? Now we got a whole other thing that Kristi Noem and Tom Homan need to look at. They're basically running insurgency camps in Minnesota and other parts of the country. They are openly training people how to do X, Y, and Z. You get the feeling at this point that it's sounding a little bit insurrection-y? You think maybe a planned organization that's doing what they can to disrupt the government might be just a tad bit insurrection-y? You're damn right it is. Wow. As now the story's actually coming out. They're trained to listen to commands, to know your rights, to whistle when you see an ICE agent. The group started out as a very loose confederation of anti-ICE activists, but has recently aligned itself with more radical organizations, including the Twin Cities Ungovernables. What in the hell is the Twin Cities Ungovernables? At this point, if the New York Post was able to find out this information, I'm pretty sure that means the government has this information as well. They knew who she was. The reason they went up to her vehicle, I think we're going to find out, is they recognized her, or somebody did, and they knew who she was, or at least what organization she was with. I don't think any of this was by chance. Let's continue. ICE Watch recently shared an Instagram post of the groups which encourage agitators to bring items that would help them barricade the streets around where the shooting took place, even urging people to bring things to burn, such as dried up Christmas trees. You know what that's called? That's a conspiracy. That is RICO right there. We're going to all show up here. We're going to do this in this neighborhood. So it's not by accident that ICE was in this neighborhood. Now the picture is becoming much clearer. ICE was in this neighborhood because they knew there was antagonist traitors in this neighborhood. And that's why they clashed, and that's why you saw today the idiots that were having the vigil, and why the Democrats are freaking out is because I think we're getting close here. I think we're getting very close. This call for aggressive and even violent resistance comes as ICE agents faced an unprecedented spike in car attacks, surging some 3,200% over last year. Shocking data released by the Department of Homeland Security. Federal officials said violent, radical rhetoric from sanctuary politicians is to blame for vehicular attacks against ICE agents skyrocketing between January 2025 and January 2026. 66 attacks were recorded during that time period compared to just the 2 of the year before. This is her wife. Her wife was out of the vehicle and taking pictures, meaning she knew what she was about to do. They wanted to document it. It didn't work out quite the way she wanted to have things documented, but that's what she was doing. In October, U.S. Border Patrol agents shot an armed woman in Chicago who attempted to run over agents with her car after a group of activists boxed in agents with 10 cars. Last month, a federal judge dropped the charges against a woman, Marimar Martinez, who survived the shooting. Good as it was a stay-at-home 37-year-old mother of three who dabbled in poetry, was shot in the head and killed as she sped her SUV in the direction of two officers who were conducting an enforcement operation just south of the city's central business district. Let me know if you've heard any of this today. I would venture to say you have not heard this stuff. Things are getting crazy. And now we're finding out, well, I just found out before I came on here, so I can say that I found out about an hour ago that all this was going on. That there's an actual organization that is known for and trains on how to ram into ICE vehicles. So if those guys out there recognize either who she was, or I'm sure they must have had an idea of what was in the neighborhood. They said she was riding around, stalking them, trying to find out. They're going to pull her cell phone records. They're going to pull every single one of these things. They probably got all kinds of GPS. It wasn't by accident that she was there. And Tim Waltz and Fry and the chief of police, who you're going to see, and Keith Ellison, you better tread very softly here. Very softly. You're about to step into something that you don't want to step into. You don't even know what the government has at this point. I don't think it's by chance that this article just showed up today in the New York Post. I think this was a soft disclosure of you don't know how much information we really have. They've probably been tracking these people. They probably know exactly who they are. They know where they live. They know what they've been doing. They probably know where money has transferred. Wow. And here the news was trying to tell us that it was just a mom of three. She was just out there, peaceful protesting. There is no peaceful protest, people. These people aren't protesting. They're interfering. They're anarchists. Peaceful protesting would mean just walking up and down the street with your sign. They can't peacefully protest. That's the other part of this. There is no way that these people can peacefully protest. You know why? Because nobody pays attention to peaceful protests. The media would not be out there in full force taking pictures of people just doing loops with signs. It's boring. It doesn't sell. It's not sexy. Okay, so they're walking around with signs. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. They're peacefully protesting. There is no such thing in the Democrat arsenal as a peaceful protest. The reason they do what they do is to get news coverage. You remember when, I don't know, I always like to use movie references, but the movie The Siege, if you haven't seen it, maybe we should show it. The movie The Siege with Bruce Willis, God bless him, and some, people from the other country over there, the intolerant ones, took over a bus. And at one point, I think Denzel Washington and Annette Bening were, trying to figure out, why are they just sitting there? Oh, and then they realized it's not a negotiation. They're waiting for the helicopters. They want the news. They need to show the biggest impact. And then the guy blew up the bus and killed everybody because they wanted you to see. Terrorism doesn't exist if people don't see it. You realize that. Terrorism can't happen unless there's a spectacle. It can't happen in a vacuum. And so what they're doing is trying to drum up media coverage so that they can act the fool. If they truly wanted to peacefully protest, go ahead. Walk up and down the street with your sign. Sing your chants, do your thing, say your mantras, but they're not doing that. They haven't done that for a long time. Everything about these so-called peaceful protests is to be not peaceful and then have other people cover it by saying they're just being peaceful. I hope you can follow me there. But that's insane. Absolutely insane finding out about that today. Just drove me absolutely bonkers. Could not believe it when I saw that. Absolutely nuts. Hey, let me tell you guys about Qualia really quick. If you haven't seen some of the things I've been talking to you about Qualia, let me just ask you, what's one thing you notice about your body changing as you've gotten older? What has that one thing done to you, and how has it affected your approach to health or recovery? And I can tell you, for me, it's feeling my knees and lower back ache from years of powerlifting and football. I mean, every single day, my knees and my lower back, especially from sitting in this chair, have hurt until I figured out certain things I had to do with my diet, not medicine, to get it fixed. I've tried a lot of remedies over the years, even medical marijuana, but that sucked because it wasn't really medical marijuana. I was just getting high. And and the pain didn't go away. It just, you're high, so you don't feel anything. And then when you're not high anymore, it's like us. It's right there. It sucked. It absolutely sucked. It's a Band-Aid. Turns out the secret to healing, recovery, and resilience isn't just luck. Don't get scared off here. It's not the same kind, but it's stem cells. These are your body's built-in repair crew. But as we age, that system slows down, fewer cells, weaker signals, slower recovery. This is exactly why Qualia stem cell was created. Your cells are powerful. Make sure they stay that way with Qualia's innovative new stem cell formula. Think of stem cells as your body's repair crew, and Qualia stem cell helps them just do their job better. It's crafted with nature's most powerful healers like sea buckthorn and royal jelly. So you're ready to take on what's next. You don't have to accept slowing down. You can help your body renew itself by reactivating the systems that keep you moving, healing, and thriving with Qualia's stem cell formula. You only need to take it 4 days a month. That's it. And it preserves your body's regenerative capacity over time. It really does. And so if you're ever felt like your body just doesn't respond, it doesn't bounce back like it used to when you were 30, whether it's after a tough workout, whether it's after being sick, or just the wear and tear of everyday life, this is for you. Qualia Stem Cell was designed to support your body's natural repair systems, helping you heal, recover, and keep going strong. And right now, you can try it for up to 50% off at qualialife.com/Barry. And here's a bonus. If you use the code Barry, you get an extra 15% off everything on your order. That's qualialife.com/Barry. Your body is built to repair itself. Qualia just helps it do it better and faster. And a big thanks to Qualia for sponsoring tonight's episode. We'll be back in 90 seconds.
Back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so I got some news from you on this Portland shooting, and it ain't good. Right here, it says, where am I? Am I on the right one? Here we go. It's official. U.S. border agents shot at Tren de Aragua newcomers in Portland after they weaponized their vehicle and tried to run the agents over. Democrats were defending these people before they even knew the affiliation. The word's gone out. The word has obviously gone out for people to get out there and fight back. Well, I know it's gone out because I've seen the videos. I've seen the videos of them telling people to go after people. All right, so this one's a rather long post. It's by, not too long, but it's Tricia McLaughlin, who we've had here on the show. At 2:19 Pacific time, which is what, 5:20 on the East Coast, 5:19, U.S. Border Patrol agents were conducting a targeted vehicle stop. Whenever you hear that term, targeted vehicle stop, they must know something about the people in that vehicle or the vehicle itself. The passenger of the vehicle and target is a Venezuelan newcomer affiliated with TDA, a TDA prostitution ring, and involved in a recent shooting in Portland. The vehicle driver is believed to be a member of the vicious Venezuelan gang, TDA. When agents identified themselves to the vehicle occupants, the driver weaponized his vehicle and attempted to run over the law enforcement agents. Fearing for his life and safety, an agent fired defensive shots. The driver drove off with the passengers fleeing the scene. The situation is evolving and more information is forthcoming. Wow, 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 wow. It's coming, people. It's bound to get worse. I mean, it's picking up steam, per se. I mean, what are we supposed to do at this point? These people are willing to fight. The Civil War is here. Make no doubt about it. It may not be in your neighborhood. It's not in my neighborhood. And I don't want to go into neighborhoods where it is, but these people have decided it's game on. It's game on right now. Uneffing believable. I hope President Trump says something about it tonight, but I don't know if tonight's interview is live or taped. Let me show you something. Let me get into some stuff I want to show you.
Shut these streets down. Yes. Again. Make the city pay. Again. And again. There was one about losing money when George Floyd died. We as a people can cause them lose more money now. If we don't stand together, we're going to fall. Together we stand, divided we fall. We as a community got to stop talking and do the work. Yeah. We cannot wait till somebody die again to do the work. ICE is the...
I'm sorry, I don't have subtitles. I should have put subtitles on there. Most of what she's saying, I don't have a clue what she's saying either. I don't know what the hell she's saying other than we need to fight. That we need to make them go out in the street, make them burn it down, do what we need to do, make them spend that money again. Yeah.
Demon. Yeah. They are not human beings. They are killers. They're killing on target.
Let me just say this. Here's my question. Where is everybody? Where is everybody else? We come to everybody's aid.
Yeah.
We help everybody. Yeah. NATO, they came and helped us after 9/11. Where is everybody? Because
you're worried about Greenland right now. Well, beyond, I'm not on board for Greenland.
Where is the government? Do you realize we don't have a government?
Oh, you mean we don't have given all their power away?
Yeah. Yes,
they do nothing.
This.
Oh. 10 days of darkness, bring it. Turn this crap off. These people are an insomnia on America. They're standing around, they're making speeches, they're on television, they're talking about having another country come in and take over America because we can't deal with this Trump guy that 80 million people voted for. We had to sit through Biden, we had to sit through Obama, and somehow we survived, but these people can't survive. We need some help. We need somebody. Please come in here. Come from another country. Do what you need to do. Take this guy down. Let us have our insurrection. They're actually calling for it. Asking another country to come in here.
Is a huge and should be our biggest bitch right now.
It is. It is.
That should be. Yeah. Because all of this is happening because there is no one doing checks and balances.
There's no system.
Where is the government? Why aren't they doing their job? And let me tell you, I feel like, you know, he hinted yesterday, he says he was joking, but he hinted yesterday that maybe there won't be midterms.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you know, we're in it already. Okay, we're not heading into it. We're in the dung right now.
Hopefully, by now you're understanding what I've been saying, that we are in a civil war. They're telling you. Tim Walz is trying to take his National Guard and mobilize them against government officers. And they're not even making any bones about it. They're telling people openly, we want to overthrow the government. Somebody come do it. We'd be behind you. NATO, anybody out there want to come in and overthrow this government? Do they realize how dangerous the words that they're saying? Do they realize that if there was some idiot country that had an idea that they might want to take a shot, do you know what they would do to you? You know, as bad as it was, like I said, we sat through Obama, we sat through Biden, we had to dance with the devil that, you know, in front of us. The devil you know is worse than the devil you don't know. You want to invite countries from someplace else to come in and take out your president, your elected president? And you're saying it on national television, on ABC? And ABC still has a license? This is absolutely insane. Like I've told you, these people are never coming back. They've lost it completely. They are dangerous to Americans. And I don't like showing this, except you have to know at this point, this country's broken. It's snapped. There's a whole area and pockets of this country who now not just want Trump gone. Forget impeachment. Forget even taking him out. Now we just need to be taken over. We just need a whole new government. You see, before, if they were somehow successful in taking Trump out, we still had, you know, a republic. They're like, the hell with it. Do whatever you need to do. Please come over here. We need your help.
Okay, we're in it. So we really need to be paying attention to who we've given power to. And if the people we've given power to, whoever you vote for, if the person you've given power to doesn't give a damn about you, get them out.
The Trump administration said about what happened yesterday that rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of these violent rioters weaponized her vehicle. Are those the same reports you have, that there were rioters?
Now, this guy is the chief of police of hell. I mean, he's the chief of police of Minneapolis. So you're asking the wrong question, but you want the answer that you're hoping for is for him to lie and say, oh, these people are peacefully protesting.
The reports that I have in this particular circumstance is that there was a woman who was at one point blocking the street. But what I also know, and I don't know about this specific person, but what I think everybody knows that's been happening here over the last several weeks is that there have been groups of people exercising their First Amendment rights. And by that I mean they have the right to peaceably assemble. They have the right to observe,
Notice he threw that in there. That's the first time I've heard a police officer say something like that, which means he now knows that they're looking at this so-called agency, this activist group. They have the right to observe. I don't know, anybody, SV, you want to pull up the First Amendment? I'm pretty sure it doesn't say you have the right to observe and disrupt. I'm pretty sure the First Amendment doesn't call for you ramming vehicles because you don't like the neighborhood they're in and what they're doing. He threw that in there. They have the right to observe. Well, why didn't we have the right to observe when the voting was going on? Why did they put the things up on the window and they wouldn't let people observe? This is a new tactic from the Democrats. You just heard a chief of police say, this guy needs to be taken out of office. They have the right to observe. They're legal observers. The hell is a legal observer?
Live stream and record police activity, and they have the right to protest and object to it. But the line is people must be able to exercise those First Amendment rights lawfully and to do it safely. And so that is where the line is. But again, as I've said repeatedly over and over and over again, I have seen this tension continuously building. And I think it is our obligations as law enforcement leaders, to be the grown-ups in the room and to look at this and say, hey, maybe we need to reevaluate our tactics. Maybe we need to do things to ensure that we are not unnecessarily putting lives at risk.
Are you saying that to the protesters or the cops? Who needs to reassess their tactics? Maybe, I don't know, maybe the people ramming their cars into law enforcement. Maybe they're the ones who should be, editing their strategy. This guy's dangerous. He's the chief of police, and he's saying law enforcement has to change. These people are okay. The legal observers and, the ICE warriors.
Lives of our law enforcement officers who are serving, as well as the lives of people in the community. Because as best I could tell, all this was initially about was a middle-aged woman in her car blocking the street.
You can't trust any of these people. He knows who she is. If I just read the article, I'm not a chief of police. I don't have this kind of intelligence. He knows who these groups are. Make no mistake. I'm sure if Maximus was in here or if my buddy who's a sheriff here, they know who these idiots are. They know what they're all about. They want this to continue. They want ICE gone. And I think what we need to do is peel back and find out what exactly is behind this curtain of theft and fraud and prostitution, as you saw with Tren de Aragua, and drug running, all kinds of stuff. $600 billion, Scott Bissett said. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to go around to a lot of people. And it all started supposedly because Nick Shirley posted a video. Remember, all of this started supposedly because a 23-year-old kid said, what the hell is the Quality Leering Center? That's where this supposedly started. And in less than a couple weeks, it's like somebody threw a hand grenade in Minnesota. What do you mean? You can't talk to the Somalis like that. Notice none of the Somalis are the ones who are out in the street. Somehow the white liberals decided they were going to descend to protect the Somalis and the grift.
Bottom line, when it comes to your job of trying to keep Minneapolis.
After saying, get the F out of the city from the mayor, the governor comes out and the government makes a statement saying that we do not need any further help from the federal government. To Donald Trump and Kristi Noem, you've done enough. There's nothing more important than Minnesotans' safety. I have issued a warning order to prepare the Minnesota National Guard. We have soldiers in training and prepared to be deployed if necessary.
Now, this is what, I don't know if you heard it yesterday during the show, I had a clip. This is what Tim Walz was saying. And as Tim Walz was saying it, I said what Glenn Beck is about to say right here. Glenn Beck is about to tell you what I've been telling you. Other people are now looking at this and saying, wait a second. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're not even hiding it anymore.
I remind you, a warning order is a heads up for folks. A heads up for who? A heads up for who? There is no other way to read this other than I'm I am training our National Guard to stand up against our federal government. Gang, this is the beginning of a civil war unless everybody remains calm and does the constitutional thing.
That's where we are. And if you start looking at the signs, you see what happened tonight in Portland, ramming cars. This is going to be a tactic, ramming cars, shooting at officers. It has begun. The governor and the mayor and the police chief of Minneapolis saying, get the F out of my city. Well, number one, it's not your city. Number two, that's not how it works. If there are crimes that need to be investigated and you're looking the other way on them and you've stolen or somebody has stolen $600 billion, expect more lights on these roaches. And I've said for many times, Tim Walz ain't cut out for jail. And he knows he can't squeal because the people that he's worked for who have pulled the strings would probably destroy his entire family. I'm looking at the monitor here, seeing how crazy things are getting. It's funny, as you turn away and look at things, it just keeps happening. It keeps growing in these cities. We are there, people. Don't get caught with your pants down. I don't know how else I could warn you. I don't know how else I could ring the bell, but I've been telling you, and then I'm turning around, I flip on the camera, and then Glenn Beck's saying it. So here's a guy with a lot more experience reading the tea leaves than I have ever had. Glenn's been around for decades. I've been around for like 18 months, nearly 2 years, and I'm saying, wait a second. Shit's about to hit the fan big time.
So when this happened yesterday, I wanted to reach out to some friends who, know the Constitution and ask them, how does the National Guard actually work? A governor cannot block the Department of Justice in any criminal investigation. The governor cannot block the Department of Homeland Security enforcement action. A governor cannot block immigration and customs enforcement deportations carried out under federal statute. Federal authority in these areas come directly from what's called the Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution.
All right, so I would advise you, because I have to I'm definitely one of those people who likes to show you and then let you read up on it yourself. Maybe you should go read up on the Supremacy Clause. As you hear things like that, you should have that knowledge yourself. Don't believe me. Don't believe Glenn. Don't believe anybody on television. Let me look at the actual writing. Remember I told you about this, about the Monroe Doctrine. And then I saw the Trump corollary. And I'm like, nah, I'm not saying it. He's saying it. And so the same thing here. Go look up the Supremacy Clause.
It means the federal law is supreme over what the governor says and what the state law is. State consent for federal law enforcement is not required. So when a governor says we don't need any further help from the federal government, that's all political. There's nothing legal in that. Nothing. Now, a governor can refuse cooperation, but it can't interfere. And the moment the governor crosses this line from non-cooperation to interference, they've just violated the Constitution and put us on the edge of a constitutional crisis or civil war. Using the National Guard as a warning is the brightest red line you can find, because there is no authority in the Constitution. In fact, the Constitution talks specifically about this and what he's trying to do. They can't obstruct federal officers. They can't enforce state political objections against the federal law. They cannot deploy or be threatened to deploy against DOJ, DHS, or ICE, because that violates the Supremacy Clause. Also, posse comitatus. So it's not...
See, in addition to the supremacy clause, I know many of you may know what posse comitatus is, but now you got another term that you have to read up. See, unfortunately for the Democrats, unfortunately for Tim Walz and the chief of police, we have this document that they don't like. They don't want us looking at this document. They don't want anybody understanding what the Constitution says. They don't even teach it in schools anymore. They teach them about Aborigines and they teach them about social activism and George Floyd, but they're not showing kids the Constitution because they feel the Constitution is an outdated concept. They want to rip it up. And that's their objective. You old people, you boomers, that doesn't matter anymore. Boys are girls, girls are boys. Everybody does whatever they want. The Constitution doesn't mean anything.
An issue of state rights. Once he says, I'm threatening to use the National Guard, that's constitutional defiance. Here's what Walz is actually doing. He's not going to call up the National Guard and do that because he knows he'll go to jail. And he's trying to avoid going to jail. That's why he and the mayor are doing this, because of all of the corruption in Minnesota. What he's actually calling up is not the National Guard.
Now listen to this, because it makes a whole lot of sense. I loved how Glenn said this because I know I've been saying Tim Walz isn't gonna want to be in jail. He's not that stupid. He will not survive. You've seen the Mayor Fry. He ain't going to survive in jail. These people don't want to be anywhere near a federal jail cell. So, and I'm pretty sure, as Tim Walz was talking about the National Guard, and these are teachers and doctors and lawyers, no, they're not going to want to go to jail. So who are you calling up?
Calling up the Democratic National Guard. He is trying to get people who are so zombie-like on the Democratic side to go up and put their bodies in and to obstruct. He's using them as soldiers. That's not just unconstitutional on the National Guard side. That is just morally reprehensible.
We're going to talk more about that, but before I do, just want to give you a shot before President Trump comes on. If you'd like to get this very warm, large blanket, this is the Donald Trump blanket. It's probably still cold where you live. And guess what? You can get this for, let me get it all the way around. There it is, the Donald Trump blanket. You can see it. I had to cut off my background so you can actually see it. Let me just hold it still. There's the blanket right there. You can get this blanket for free, absolutely free. Just pay for the shipping for 14 or 15 bucks, and you can get this huge, really warm blanket. It's free. Just go to berryblanket.com. It's from the guys at Patriot Addict, and they came up with another idea for the Fanfare family. They offer the Berry blanket. It's big. It's very big. You know, I'm a big guy. It's very warm. It's like the bearskin hoodie. It's a very, very warm blanket. So just go to berryblanket.com. You can get it for 100% off. Just go to the website, berryblanket.com. If you go there, you'll get this just for shipping. It's huge. It's warm. It's nice. It's soft. I like it. Sometimes I sit out on the deck with it, like I've told you, and put it over my legs where I've got my hoodie on as well. You guys can get this. All right, so it's 8:58. President Trump is going to be coming up relatively soon. I'm going to go to break and then come right back, take some of your comments before President Trump comes on.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
All right, so it's 9 o'clock. Jesse's just going through some of his ending stuff, so we come back to it real quick. Waltz and Fry can't even be governor and mayor. Fred says the Insurrection Act is coming. Military is the only way. That seems to be exactly what is going to be coming. I don't think I'll be talking about it tonight, though. I'm getting a Trump blanket so I can cozy up. Go ahead, barryblanket.com. Go for it. Let's see, Barry, we need a fanfare hat saying Barry was right on everything. I don't want to brag like that. I wouldn't do it. All right, so Hannity's coming on right now. Let's see if he goes directly to Trump, or is he going to talk? He might talk about the shooting in Portland. If he does, let me see what he starts with. Hold on.
In Washington, D.C. for my exclusive interview with President Donald Trump. That's moments away. It is his first sit-down interview since the U.S. captured Nicolas Maduro. But first, tonight, we do begin on the other side of the country in Portland, Oregon, where an investigation is now underway after an incident earlier today where U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents fired their weapons in the line of duty. The agents, thankfully, are okay. The two other people were hospitalized with gunshot wounds, one of whom we are now learning is believed to be a member of Tren de Aragua. Anyway, our very own Kevin Cork has an update on all of this, a full report. Kevin.
Evening, Sean. As you pointed out, a Border Patrol agent shot two people in Portland, Oregon this afternoon after the driver of that car allegedly attempted to run over federal officers. Now, this all unfolded about 2:19 local time, Pacific time, of course. That's when agents identified themselves. This was, by the way, a targeted stop of an alleged member of Tren de Aragua, the Venezuelan gang. Now, after the agent identified himself, the driver and that passenger, who's also believed to be a part of that gang's prostitution ring, tried to weaponize the vehicle and run over law enforcement officers. After the driver, of course, was hit by gunfire, they were found about 10 minutes later. The driver and the passenger were both apparently hit. As you point out, they were taken to local hospitals. Sean, we do not have an update on their conditions tonight. Now, this, of course, comes on the heels of yesterday's shooting in Minneapolis of a woman who also allegedly attempted to speed off in the direction of officers despite being told to get out of the vehicle. Of course, she died from her injury, Sean.
All right, and Kevin, we are expecting some type of press conference coming up shortly, right?
That is correct. We got a little blurb earlier, but we're expecting a more fulsome news conference will be coming our way just shortly. And as we get information, we promise to pass it along to you. But for now, back to you.
All right, Kevin Cork, thank you. Now, this was a huge week for the president, both at home and abroad. And in the coming days, so much at stake. Earlier, I sat down with President Trump in the West Wing. Here is part one of my exclusive interview with President Donald J. Trump. You've done quite a bit of decorating since I've been here last.
Well, I have.
Great to see you, sir.
I didn't know it was a full hour. I thought it was going to be maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But you do that to me every once in a while.
I think I was pretty clear, but thank you for your time. We always appreciate it. There's really not much in the news, so there's not a real lot to talk about, but let's start with Venezuela. Narco-terrorist, indicted, guy that we're losing 200 Americans a day to drugs.
Yeah.
Walk us through this decision in Venezuela.
Well, it wasn't a hard decision. Democrats wanted him and Republicans wanted him, and nobody had what it takes to get him or didn't want to get him. I don't know, something happened, but he killed a lot of people. He sent a lot of bad people into our country. He emptied his prisons into the United States. He emptied his mental institutions and insane asylums into the United States and did a lot of very bad things, but he was a big drug pusher. You see that because all the boats that we shot down, they came out of Venezuela. A lot of drugs. There's a lot of boats and a lot of drugs. There are very few boats operating right now. There's almost no boats. You can't find any boats.
I don't think anyone would go fishing in those
Not
waters.
a lot of people want to go fishing anymore. But we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water. And we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country. But the cartels are running, and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying, too, with drugs. So we've done a really good job. We're knocking it down. The numbers are really getting to be, they're always going to be too high if you have one person, but they're going down just like the border. The border was a total mess for years. I did it the first time very quickly, and this time I did it even better because this was a bigger mess. This was a border like no other probably in the history of the world. There's never been a border like that when anybody could just walk into your country.
The border's ostensibly really closed now.
Closed. You can't come in. And nobody comes. Nobody even tries. And the people in Texas, Arizona, all these places that are won by such big numbers, they are so happy with the border. They had homes that they weren't even able to live in their home. Every day people were knocking on their door, every hour. And it's just a great honor to be involved with it. The ICE and Border Patrol and all of the people have been so good. Tom Homan, Kristi Noem. The people have done such an incredible job. You have no idea.
You've made a number of profound announcements and then a new announcement today. Announcement number one was 30 to 50 million barrels of oil that they will be handing over to you, and you will sell it on the market at market prices.
Yeah.
That money will be used for the people of Venezuela and the people of America.
Correct.
Then you made an announcement yesterday that they will buy all of their goods from this country. Today, we learn that the holdovers, since Maduro's gone, have agreed to free all of the political prisoners.
Right.
It indicates they want peace with Donald Trump to me. How do you interpret it?
We asked them to do that, and they've been great. They really have been. I mean, everything we've wanted, they've given us. We went in, we took Maduro out. Amazingly, that nobody was killed. We didn't lose a soldier. We had some people wounded, but we didn't lose a soldier. A couple of very brave helicopter pilots were wounded pretty badly, but they're good. They're in good shape. And it was an amazing attack. The other side lost a lot of people, unfortunately. But, you know, this house was in the middle of a fort with thousands of people and soldiers and everything else. And we went right into the middle of a fort. Who would think you could do that and not lose anybody? But they had it planned so beautifully. General Raisin Kane and Pete Hegseth were fantastic. Marco's been doing a great job. Vice President. The whole group it's just a fantastic group.
Let's talk a little bit about, you make these decisions. I don't care if it's this case, Operation Midnight Hammer. In the one case, you're here in the White House in the Situation Room. You're watching this unfold in real time. In this case, you have operationally the same thing, a Situation Room down in Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago. You make that ultimate call. You are the commander-in-chief.
Right.
You're watching it unfold in real time. What is that like?
Well, I've done it now quite a bit. We took out Soleimani, which was a big deal. I mean, a very big deal. Middle East. It was very bad to people. It killed a lot of people. Everybody you see, just about 95% of the people you see walking around without legs or without arms, that was the roadside bomb. That was his baby. He loved it. We took him out. We took out al-Baghdadi. He's the founder of ISIS. We did Midnight Hammer, which was obliterate the Iran nuclear threat. And it was a total obliteration, as they found out. The B-2 bombers and the best pilots anywhere in the world. They did that at night with no moon, totally dark, and every bomb went right down an air shaft deep into a granite mountain. It was amazing. And we did this, and there's similar in a way. I don't know. This seems to have gotten the imagination, maybe even more than the other ones. But I think they're very equal in many ways. But I don't know. You know, maybe taking out the nuclear threat from Iran is very important. But in terms of captivating attention, this seems to be something that is beyond anything that anybody's seen.
Especially the operational details.
Well, the bravery involved. You know, I mean, to have people going into an army fort with, you know, thousands of soldiers, land a helicopter right in the middle of it, break down a steel door, because, you know, it was a fortified house, break down a steel door, run through the hallway shooting, and come out 10 minutes later with the guy who wasn't quite able to get into his safe house. You know, there's a safe.
I heard they got to him within 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes.
It was so fast. I mean, nobody's ever seen anything like it. And but the safe house wasn't safe because they had blowtorches that go through steel like it's butter. They didn't have to use them. But we have, these are great people. These are really brave people. Even coming down those ropes, they're coming down ropes off the helicopter and they run them. I was thinking to myself, I wonder if I could do that. I'm going to have to give it a try sometime. But they do it like it's a stairway, like it's a beautiful stairway. And they're on the ground instantly and they're ready for action. These are brave people. We have the greatest soldiers in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world. Nobody can match us. I rebuilt the entire military during my first term.
Good thing you did.
Biden gave some of it away, a lot of it, but not a lot relative to what I bought. But he gave a big chunk to Afghanistan, which was just insane. That was one of the most embarrassing moments in the history of our country. This was the opposite. This was a total, if you think about Jimmy Carter with the hostages, or you think about the Afghanistan disaster that we had not so long ago with Biden, where it was just mass confusion and the death of 13 great soldiers who I got to know. I got to know the families very well. Great people, but also, and nobody talks about them, 48 people so badly injured and hundreds of people dead. Hundreds of people, when those bombs blew off, because I count the other side, but there were hundreds of people killed, all because of an incompetent group of politicians and generals and people that shouldn't be there.
Let's talk a little bit, maybe an underreported story, but we know for a fact that both the Russians and the Chinese provided missile and ballistic missile systems. They did it to both. They helped Iran and they helped Venezuela. But you were able to dismantle that. You talk a lot about American military superiority. And then that goes into the issue that you raised this week of raising the budget for 2027 from $1 trillion to $1.5 trillion.
We need it, when you look at the threat out there. We have the best equipment in the world. We make the best equipment in the world. We make there's nothing even close. But we need it because there are some real threats out there.
Yeah, well, I think we certainly do. Let me ask you about this. And I think this is important. With every military operation comes risk. And you have to obviously weigh that risk. And I think Americans would want to know what goes into your thinking, because there's a whole new military doctrine. I call it the Trump doctrine. I think it's widely misunderstood. No forever wars. However, that doesn't mean you don't use the might and power of the U.S. military. You mentioned Baghdadi, Soleimani. I'll add the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, the ISIS caliphate, and then taking out Iran's nuclear weapon sites. And now our hemisphere. Are you calling it the Monroe Doctrine?
Well, they call it the Monroe. I didn't call it that, but they're calling it's the Monroe Doctrine. Now they call it the Monroe, which is basically safety for this part of the world. And it's pretty simple. We don't want drugs pouring into our country. We don't want bad people coming into our country, like happened for 4 years under Biden, who was a disgrace, worst president in the history of our country. Horrible. We had some other bad ones. Let me tell you, Obama was a terrible president. The divisiveness and the hatred that was caused, and many of the people allowed into the country. But what Biden did was a step beyond anything that anybody's ever done, where you had millions of people pouring through the border. Now we have nobody coming in unless they come in legally.
Let's talk about, you said for the interim, you will be in charge. Okay. Obviously, the remaining leadership underneath Maduro, they've made, I mentioned earlier, 3 major concessions, 30 to 50 million barrels of oil. They're going to buy and purchase all their goods from America. Now they're releasing political prisoners.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your ultimate goal for the governance of Venezuela?
Prisoners that nobody thought they would ever see again are being released, yeah. And in many cases, good people is what I understand. But prisoners, nobody ever thought they'd be released. So we're going to be working with them and leadership of the country. And so far, we've been working very well. We picked up the Russian freighter that trudged out there.
I want to ask you about that.
Well, they had some Russian ships guarding it, and they decided not to mess around with us. And we took that one. And that's unloading the oil. But we're taking billions and billions of dollars worth of oil And it'll be hundreds of billions of dollars. It'll be trillions of dollars. But we're going to be there till we straighten out the country. We'll see how the country's doing. But we'll be running the oil. We're meeting tomorrow with all of the big oil executives. We're going to be right here in the White House. We're going to meet with the, biggest oil people in the world. They're all coming here. The top 14 companies are coming here. They're going to go in. They're going to rebuild the whole oil infrastructure. They're going to spend at least $100 billion. And it's an unbelievable oil that they have and an unbelievable quality of oil and amount of oil.
When they nationalized the oil industry in Venezuela, going back to the 1920s, American companies had invested billions.
We built it.
All of it.
And then it was taken away from us.
Stolen.
It was stolen from us. And it was taken away, years ago over a period of time, but it was taken away in the early 2000s, even beyond that, but the early 2000s. And I just took it back.
I can't imagine them being able to, they have the largest oil reserves in the world. I can't imagine without American investment, ingenuity, engineering, and our assistance that they would ever be able to tap into the vast resources that they have. Again, the largest in the entire world. So that will be a big part of it. What does that mean in terms of America's new partnership with Venezuela?
Well, it means lower oil prices all over the world, which is great for everybody. It means lower oil prices for America, which I have it down. Don't forget, I inherited a mess. They talk about affordability. There was no affordability under Biden. He had the worst inflation in history, the highest and worst inflation in history. Prices were through the roof, and I'm fixing it. I inherited a mess. I say it all the time. I inherited, because people don't understand, I inherited a mess. Open borders, millions of people in this country that shouldn't be. We're moving them out. We're moving them out pretty rapidly, too. Murderers and drug dealers and just some of the worst people in the world came in, not only from Venezuela, from all over the Congo. The Congo sent us tremendous numbers of people. I don't know what it is with the Congo. They open their jails and they walk into our country. They drive them up to our front entrance. They get out and they walk right into our country. And these are tough, hardened criminals. These are real criminals, and from many countries. I mean, they came from Africa, they came from the Middle East, they came from South America, but a lot came from Venezuela. He opened his prisons and sent all of the people from his prisons into the United States. Why not? I do the same thing about it. You take the people, they're nothing but trouble for you, and they're killers, and they're the worst people that you can imagine. I mean, some of the crimes are so bad you wouldn't believe it. We just accepted them into our country. Nobody did anything about it. So we're getting them out. Washington, D.C., as an example, was very dangerous, and now it's very safe. I mean, everybody's coming to Washington. It's a very safe city now, and before, when I took over, it was really a danger. It got really bad. We had it pretty good, but it wasn't really a focus because you didn't hear the level of danger until my second term. My first term, we watched Washington. But it wasn't like it was the big deal. Now, all of a sudden, when I came here, I was hearing stories about the kind of crime that they had here. People come in from Iowa and from Indiana and great places, and they end up calling the parents that your son has been killed. Doesn't happen anymore. We have a very safe, Washington, D.C. is a very safe city. We put our National Guard there. They're all central casting. You take a look at these guys, it's great. We won the case on merit, based on merit from the Supreme Court, a great victory, a courageous victory, actually, but this country is now based on merit again.
Let me ask you about Maria Corina Machado. I've had her on TV this week.
Yeah, she's a very nice person.
Okay, she won the Nobel Peace Prize. Yes. When she accepted that Peace Prize, she dedicated it to you. She said to me this week, both on TV and radio, that she wants to give the Nobel Prize, her Nobel Peace Prize, to you for liberating her country. In 2023, she won over 92% of the vote to be the leader of the opposition. Maduro kept her off the ballot. Do you have any plans to meet with her? And would you accept the Nobel Prize she wants to hand to you?
Well, I understand she's coming in next week sometime. And I look forward to saying hello to her, and I've heard that she wants to do that. That would be a great honor. I did put out 8 wars 8.25 because, Thailand and Cambodia started going at it again. So
I'll put the list
I
up
give
if
a
you
quarter,
want.
so it's
Yeah.
you put the list out. It's a hell of a list. But I've stopped 8 wars, and I think it's been a major embarrassment to Norway. Now I don't know what Norway has to do with it, but that's where the committee is located. A lot of Norwegian people, and it's been a very big embarrassment to the country of Norway. Whether they have anything to do with it or not, I think they do. They say they don't. But, when you put out 8 wars, in theory, you should get one for each war, okay? Because some of these wars were going on for 30 years. India, Pakistan was ready to go at it big, and these are 2 nuclear countries. I got that one stopped. 8 planes were shot down. They were really at it, and I got it stopped. It was a big one. You look at the Congo, Rwanda and the Congo. They've been fighting for 30 years, and I got it stopped. I got so many wars. So it's such a beautiful thing. It makes me feel so good. Not because of a Nobel Prize, but because I saved millions and millions of lives. And that's what really makes me feel good.
All right, we'll take a break. We are in the Roosevelt Room. We're in the White House. More with President Trump on the other side as we continue from Washington, D.C. and the White House.
All right, so I got a couple announcements. I think you saw them on the crawl. One, Philadelphia district attorney who was backed by Soros has now thrown down the gauntlet. And he said if ICE shows that, first of all, ICE should stay the F out of Philadelphia. Good luck with that. And 2, if ICE does show up in Philadelphia, he's going to arrest them and hold them. Good luck with that. And in addition, Scott, this is even bigger. Scott Bessent has said he is now going to ban any transfers out of the country if you are on welfare, which means most of the Somalis will not be able to send money out of the country, which also means people who aren't on welfare, if you're sending money to someplace, they're going to be watching to see where that money is going. The walls are closing in on these people. They're not going to be able to send any money out anywhere. Their daycare centers are closing. It's not looking good. One other note I have here is that Tim Walz is tomorrow planning, quote, a day of unity. A day of unity tomorrow, and he wants all Americans to stand with Minnesota. You can tell at this point we're reaching a fevered pitch. It won't be long now. Let's see. SB says that Trump, obviously this interview is taped. So right now, he's on a flurry, absolute flurry right now. Let me get a couple of them that I can fit in while they're on break. He has posted this.
How does being part of that network?
He has posted this, free Tina Peters. This was at 8:27 p.m. He's put up free Tina Peters. So that's something he's working on. Let's see what else he's got here. 1 second. Let me go back. He posted about California. In California, he says incompetent leaders headed by Governor Gavin Newsom and a traveling mayor who likes Africa better than the USA, talking about Karen Bass. She chose to go there rather than stay at home and fight the worst fire in California history, are absolutely unable to get people permits to rebuild their homes. All federal permits have been issued and received long ago. Having been in real estate, there's no way this should be taking this long to get these permits. And then, I said, he was in a flurry. In rapid succession, he posted these. Let me see if I can show these to you. He's got manufacturing productivity is booming since Trump took office. In the blue, which are basically non-existent or negative, was when Biden, and then look at what's the difference with President Trump. And the second one he posted says, since January, the private sector accounts for all new jobs created are in the private sector, and there's 161,000 fewer government jobs. Then he posted, since Trump took office, all new jobs have gone to native-born workers. This is probably the most impressive graph that he posted. 100% have gone to native-born Americans or native-born people born here. Zero. None have gone to people who haven't been born here. Whereas before Biden, most of the jobs he was taking credit for were for people who weren't supposed to be here. And then, of course, you heard about the trade deficit is the lowest since 2009. And it's on a straight up trajectory. These are things the media won't talk about. Economic takeaways. States won by Trump have added 11x more jobs than left-wing, red tape-ridden states. The golden age is in motion. Focus on housing is coming at a good time as jobs, residential construction are down slightly over the year. All construction jobs gains are in red states, and all manufacturing losses are in blue states. Private sector annual wages are on track to rise $2,700 for a full-time worker since January. Manufacturing is even higher at $3,000. The Atlanta Fed forecasts that the U.S. will grow even faster in Q4, Q2, and Q3 despite the shutdown. And that's with a projection of 5% GDP. The numbers are very hard for many people to understand. It's hard for them to grasp, even though gas prices are going way down. The media won't talk about the financial success because it doesn't matter to their audience. They're on the dole. They're not working. They're not doing anything. They're not producing in society. And so they don't even like to talk about it at all because it means nothing to them that we're doing better as a country. Man, but I can't believe they said they're going to try and arrest ICE agents in Philadelphia. There's a big problem in these blue cities. Big problem. They're back here. All right, let me see here. Are they back? Yes.
All right, we are in the Roosevelt Room. We're in the White House. We continue our discussion. President Donald J. Trump with us for the entire hour. Let me go back to this issue of the political future for the people of Venezuela. Yeah. Now, it's interesting. You mentioned all of the criminals and the people let out of prisons that were sent to our borders in our country. That's Tren de Aragua. That's cartel members.
Some of the worst criminals in the world were let into our country.
Known terror ties.
Biden's open border policy. Mm-hmm. Anybody could come in.
And that will get into the issue of Minneapolis going on right now. But back to this one issue. Do you foresee a Venezuela that will have free and fair elections? And I would have little doubt that the opposition would probably win handily if they were free and if they were fair.
Yeah, I do see that. I think that's happening. But before we do that, it's going to take a while to do. We have to rebuild the country. They couldn't have an election. They wouldn't even know how to have an election right now. The country's become third world, and they wouldn't know how to have an election right now. We're going to rebuild the oil and the oil infrastructure. We'll be in charge of it. It's going to do great and make a lot of money. And we're going to take it from there, but we're going to rebuild the country, and ultimately you're going to have elections.
When you talk about increasing defense spending, I go back to the campaign, and I go back to your first term, foreign policy usually doesn't get a lot of discussion. And in many ways, you have dedicated a lot of time, energy, and resources.
Very important for our country.
How is that in America's first interest? Because that's what you stand for.
Well, like the Middle East was blowing up when I got in. It was everybody was fighting everybody, which, in all fairness, has been going on for about 3,000 years in the Middle East. And we now have peace in the Middle East. Nobody thought that was possible. But you have some great countries, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and many other countries that have been around a long time. They're very wealthy. They were, in many ways, put out of business. They weren't able to do business. Tremendous wealth for the world. The oil supply was hurt. Everything was hurt. I mean, you had things happening in the Middle East that were bad, not only in Gaza with the death and the destruction going on for years. And it's been cleaned up. It's amazing. It's been cleaned up. Now, there'll be some remnants right now. We're going to have to see what happens with Hamas. We're going to have to see what happens with Hezbollah and Lebanon. But we have 59 countries that signed on, and they want to go in and help if we should have to do something with Hamas, which is a possibility, not I think they're going to do what they said they were going to do. They were going to disarm, but they've been armed for a long time.
They've been a little slow to disarm.
Yeah, they've been a little
bit
slow.
Will you support Israel? Will you put them on a timetable?
Well, I would, but first we'll see whether or not they're going to be disarming. Look, I'm all for it if they don't. They made the promise that they were.
If they don't.
They've made an agreement that they're going to disarm, so we're going to have to assume that they're going to, but, it's not their nature to disarm. It's not exactly their nature. Hezbollah's been very bad in Lebanon. But overall, I mean, we have an amazing situation compared to what it was, and we really do have peace in the Middle East. And I will say Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and other countries have been amazing. They've been, so helpful in getting it done. But the biggest thing was the attack on Iran. If you had a strong Iran, a respected Iran, a powerful Iran, like I guess it was at one point, a year and a half ago, you wouldn't have been able to make peace because the other countries wouldn't have been able to have that dark cloud hanging over them. And they, by knocking out their nuclear potential, they would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 months. By knocking that's why I had to go in. Every president wanted to go in, and none of them did.
You mean you didn't want to send cargo planes of cash and other currency?
No, it's terrible. I mean, I've never seen hundreds of millions of dollars were sent in cash on Boeing 757s, beautiful Boeing 7. They opened, the cash was piled up to the ceiling. I never even knew a president could do that. How do you do that? What do you do? Call the banks? They emptied out every bank in Virginia and Maryland to get that cash, and they sent it over there and gave it to them. No, we took the opposite approach, exactly the opposite approach.
Are you following the protesting that is taking place all over the country of Iran
Yeah,
now?
I'm following it very closely.
And have you read that the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has a plan B to go to Russia?
Or someplace, yeah. He's looking to go someplace.
Do you believe that Iran, you think the country is on the verge of collapsing?
Well, it could be. I mean, what they've done is in the past, they've started shooting the hell out of people, and all of a sudden people without any weapons whatsoever are standing there and you have machine guns gunning them down, or they take them to prisons and then hang them and kill them. So they played rough, and I said, if they do that, we're going to hit them very hard. Well, we're going to hit them hard. We're ready to do it. If they do that, we're going to hit them hard. And so far, for the most part, there's been some of it, but for the most part, they haven't. There have been people killed. Some of them, the crowds are so big that some of them have had really, were stomped on. Literally, it was terrible. The crowds are just, they're massive. The enthusiasm to overturn that regime is incredible. But there's been people killed, but it's more from death it's literally stomping. It's people running in a certain direction. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens over there. They know, though, that it's a stampede, is, I guess, the best word. They have like a stampede. You talk about stampede for cattle. But the people are stampeding, and you're losing a lot of people with the stampedes. There's so many people protesting. Nobody's ever seen anything like what's happening right now. But I have put Iran on notice that if they start shooting at them, these people are totally unarmed people. And they love their country. They want something to happen. Look at their country. They've gone back 150 years. But I've told them that if they do anything bad to these people, we're going to hit them very hard.
So if there is mass murder by the Iranian Ayatollahs and those leadership, you're pledging to the people of Iran that you will come to their aid.
I've said it very loud and very clear. Yeah, that's what we're going to do.
I have this hat. I guess you were playing golf with Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, I did that for Lindsey Graham.
It says "Make Iran Great Again."
And what he means by that, because I said, this is a little tricky hat. Yeah. Why do you want me to sign this hat?
I don't know.
He's
Can
really
I auction this
about
off on eBay? Can I sell this?
Yeah,
it's probably worth a lot of money.
Got my signature.
Yeah.
No, but he asked me to sign that. I said, there's a lot of definitions for that. And what he's talking about is the people that are, protesting, I guess is the only word you can use. It's really the biggest protest I've ever seen. The people that are protesting, if they take over the country, he wants to see if Iran can be great again. Years ago, a friend of mine was a developer from New York, and I was a young developer, and he went to Iran, and he built buildings in Iran, and he made a lot of money, and he did very well, and it was like condos and rentals, and he loved Iran. He thought it was great, and he did a lot of work there. He did a tremendous amount of work. He loved the people. He thought they were so incredible. And then it all stopped when this stuff started happening.
In 1979.
Yeah,
then
it stopped like magic.
444 days Americans held hostage.
Yeah, that was right. It was not a good time for Jimmy Carter. It wasn't a good time for
America.
His politics.
No, didn't work out very well for anybody. If, in fact...
Well, you know, I think about that, though, if I could interrupt, because, you know, when we were going into the middle of Venezuela with helicopters landing in an army fort where you have thousands of soldiers and you have people with guns all over the place, I thought so much about that Jimmy Carter catastrophe. We had so many hostages taken, American hostages. We had the helicopters crashing. You had the sandstorms. If you had sandstorms, you should come back.
Yeah.
But they tried to blast through the sandstorm. Nature always wins, remember?
Not with a helicopter.
Nature always wins.
Mm-hmm.
And helicopters don't have that kind of an engine. You know, there are a lot of moving parts. They don't like sand blowing into their gears. But anyway, they decided to go forward. I should have come back. But I was thinking about that because, you know, here we are going into actually a much more dangerous situation. If you think about it, on Venezuela, we're in a fort, a military army fort, and the house was built there for protection. And we're going in with helicopters, with jets, with helicopters. I mean, the jets preceded the helicopters and did an unbelievable... These are unbelievably talented pilots and people, and very brave people. So I was thinking a lot about the Jimmy Carter thing. I don't know what he would have done or how he would have done if that didn't happen, but there are those that say that destroyed his chances of winning election and, you know, lost that election pretty big. He might have lost it anyway, perhaps, but there was no question after that mess. And I was saying, boy, I hope that doesn't happen with me. But we have Raising Cane and all of these great people, and they did an unbelievable job.
You know, you started in your first term the Abraham Accords.
Right.
And I would argue beyond Israel, it's other countries in the region, Egypt, Jordan, the Saudis, and pretty much every country, right, that they probably were breathing a sigh of relief, as well as the Israelis, because they didn't want Iranian hegemony in the region and a nuclear-armed Iran.
Well, you had to stop that. You had no choice. And it should have been done long before I got there. It should have been done earlier. They just, you look back and Obama should have done it. They all should have done it. Clinton should have done it. Obama went the other way. I mean, Obama decided to go with Iran. I mean, I don't know how Jewish people can vote for Biden and Obama. They were absolutely on the side of Iran. They were against
or
Jewish
Mamdani.
people. Well, we're going to find out.
Your favorite mayor.
Well, I have a very nice relationship, but I thought it would take at least maybe a month or 2 months before he went after me. He hit me on the attack on Venezuela, which is pretty unusual because not too many people have hit us. That was a perfect attack. Think of what we've done. I mean, we've taken over a whole country. We're going to make the country strong and good, and they'll ultimately be able to vote and put somebody in that they like. The oil that we've taken $4 billion worth of oil in one day, and that'll increase. We're going to have it rebuilt. All the big oil companies are coming in. They're going to make a lot of money, and Venezuela's going to get some of that money, and we're going to get some of that money. And we brought stability to the region. We brought stability and much lower oil prices. You know, we have gasoline now down to, in many cases, $1.99 a gallon. And with Biden, it was $4.50, $5. We have it we've brought it way down. We've done a great job. On the word affordability, prices are way down. They're going to go lower. Prices, you know, everything follows oil. Oil is so big, everything follows oil. If oil prices are down, everything's down. I mean, you can look at
everything goes lower.
It affects everything. It affects a truck that delivers donuts. It affects the stove that makes the donuts. It affects everything.
Two more issues on foreign policy and national security. Then I do want to do a deep dive into the economy. I want to ask you.
The economy is unbelievable.
We're going to get to that.
I know, but it's unbelievable.
Can Cuba survive without Venezuelan oil? I don't see how it can.
Can who survive?
Cuba.
No, Cuba totally relies on Venezuela for money and for oil, and they give Venezuela protection. That was always the deal. They're very tough. They're good soldiers. They got wiped out, as you know.
Yeah.
3 days ago, wiped out. I don't want to even say how many, but they got wiped out. But Cuba gives protection to Venezuela, and Venezuela gives Cuba money through oil.
Yeah.
And it's worked that way for a long time.
You talked about...
But it doesn't work that way anymore. So I don't know what Cuba's going to do. I think Cuba's going to fail. I don't think there are any alternatives for Cuba.
I don't know how they survive without Venezuelan
We have
energy.
great people from Cuba. Marco Rubio is great. He knows Cuba very well.
Some people said, somebody told me today it was Marco's revenge.
Well, maybe it was, but a lot of great people.
Yeah.
A lot of great people. We'll see what happens.
Well, you live in South Florida.
We want to do something to help Cuba.
Yeah. But you mentioned Vladimir Putin.
You know the Cubans I want to help, though? I want to help the Cubans in the United States that got treated so badly by Castro. Because we have a lot of Cuban population here. We have some of the best people in the country, Cuban. And I want to help those people. They got treated so badly. They left on rafts and they got just thrown out.
Broken down.
Those people are going to be taken care of.
Broken down, dilapidated, rickety boats, shark-infested waters, inner tubes, because things were so bad there.
They came in in the worst floating vessels that there have ever been, and circled by sharks and everything else. And many of them, as you know, many of them didn't make it.
You talked about peace and your involvement around the globe and the success that you've had. You said many times that you thought the easiest conflict to resolve would be the European conflict, Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah.
And now you pointed out many times that it became the most difficult. A couple of things on that issue. Vladimir Putin, we did take out this Russian flag tanker along with Great Britain.
Right.
Tough decision, number one. Number two,
I didn't think it was a tough decision.
Will you support the sanctions bill? I think there are 84 or 5 senators that want.
Yeah, they only do it if it's subject to me, and I support it.
You support it?
I hope we don't have to use it. And we have big sanctions on Russia right now.
No.
Russia's economy is very bad, but they are much bigger than Ukraine. They're a much bigger, more powerful country from that standpoint.
Did Vladimir call you after this tanker was seized?
I don't want to say that, but the fact is that the Russian ships, it was a submarine and a destroyer, they both left very quickly when we arrived. And we took over the ship, and the oil is being unloaded right now.
All right, we'll take a break. We are in the Roosevelt Room. We're in the White House. More with President Trump on the other side as we continue from Washington, D.C. and the White House.
All right, so I put up a poll. I want to know if you guys are starting to fall asleep or anything. If you want to see the Portland press conference after this interview, I've got the entirety of it. Take me a second, probably 30 seconds to get it configured. But I mentioned a couple of things to you that I want to show you. I mentioned what Scott Besson said about, nope, you're not sending money overseas anymore. And I also have the Philadelphia prosecutor, the Soros guy, who says he's going to arrest ICE. So let's look at Scott Besson first.
Right. So we're lowering that to 3,000, and we're also targeting the 2 counties here, and we're going to do enhanced surveillance. And from now on, anyone who wires money out from one of these money service businesses has to check a box saying whether they are on public assistance. And if you are on public assistance, we are going to start pushing that you cannot wire money out of the country.
Oh, gosh. So what if they lie and they don't tell us for public assistance?
Well, then
that's a crime, lying on a federal form.
We're going to follow it up, and we are going to push that you can no longer do that. The American people, our generosity has been taken advantage of.
Our generosity is funding al-Shabaab, an Iranian interest, it could be.
Well, the money...
I mean, this is really bad.
The money is supposed to go for alleged asylum seekers and their families and children. And if you are wiring the money out of the country, one of 2 things must be true. You are getting too much money and your benefits should be cut, or you are part of this conspiracy. Where did that money come from? We're going to find it out. That's what Treasury does. IRS has a group called Criminal Investigations. Criminal Investigations.
All right, so great point. if you're wiring money to some other country, then you're getting too much in benefits because obviously it's more than you need to take care of yourself. And if you lie, then you're going to be kicked out and you're going to lose your benefits. This is the Soros guy from Philadelphia.
If any law enforcement agent, any ICE agent is going to come to Philly to commit crimes, then you can get the F out of here. Because if you do that here, I will charge you with those crimes. You will be arrested. You will stand trial. You will be convicted, whether it's in state or federal court. It's my office process.
Sounds really low on it because it's mono instead of stereo, so I couldn't hear it, so I'm not sure if you guys could hear it at all. But anyway, that was the DA of Philadelphia who's saying he's going to throw people in jail. And if I have time here, let me see if I can give you this one last one before they come back on. This is, what's his face, Tim Walz. Let me bring this in here. They're still on commercial break, so I should be able to bring this in. This is Tim Walz talking about what they want to see in Minnesota tomorrow.
Hi, everyone. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz here. You witnessed in Minnesota yesterday a tragedy, the death of Renee Good on the streets at the hands of a federal agent. You also witnessed last night a beautiful vigil, a peaceful vigil, people expressing their constitutional and First Amendment rights in a peaceful manner. And for that, I say thank you. I've been very clear. We need a couple things here. We need Minnesota to carry out this investigation to make sure that the professionals at the BCA and the local law enforcement who's in charge of law enforcement make sure we do the investigation, and then to pull back this unnecessary surge. And so with that, I would ask for all of us to continue to do this peacefully, continue to raise our voices, but do so in a manner that brings about that sense of community. In Minnesota, I'm declaring tomorrow at 10 a.m. on January 9th, I'd ask everyone to pause for a moment of silence, to remember Renee Good, also to remember all that's good and right about this nation. And I'm going to ask folks, if they can, I'd ask employers to give their people some space. I'd ask each and every one to find a way to contribute in your community. It might be shoveling your neighbor's walk. It might be being at a food bank. It might be pausing to talk to someone you haven't talked to before, but to show the goodness, to rise up, to make sure that we're being very, very clear about this, that we expect our constitutional rights to be respected, that law enforcement is local, that we expect accountability of our elected leaders, and that we are not going to go quietly, and we're not going to give up on those things that matter so much to us. And chief amongst those is human dignity, respect, rule of law, all of the things that we know make this country great.
What exactly did he mean we're not going to go quietly? This guy talks in bumper stickers. Makes no sense at all. Like I said earlier today, what fight are you having? Who is we? Who is they? We're all Americans, right? That's what we're supposed to be. So you want to keep the fight. You want to make sure things keep going. You want to have a moment of silence across the country by people who don't know this woman, from people who have no affinity to this woman, who understand you people in Minnesota are nutbags, and you want employers and everybody else to get involved in it. Absolutely. They're insane. I keep saying I'm going to have to get an insane from the membrane button.
Move on to the economy, because if you look historically, first we'll talk about, this is a midterm election year. 3 times in the last 100 years, the party in power was with you. However, historically, peace and prosperity do drive elections. We just took a trip around the entire globe, and you have your fingerprints pretty much everywhere, all over the map. And
we've done great everywhere. It's amazing. It's an amazing phenomena that on 2 or 3 occasions, I don't know, it depends on how far you want to go back, but if you go back a long way, the sitting president, whether it's Democrat or Republican, always loses the midterm. even if they've done well, almost always. And, you know, you'd think it would be like a 50-50 deal. Even if the president's done a great job, I think we've done a great job. We've done maybe the best job ever in the first year. But they always seem to lose the midterm. There's something down deep psychologically with the voters that they want maybe a check or something. I don't know what it is exactly, but you would think when you have a victory and then on top of the victory you have a great successful presidency, it would be an automatic win. But it's never been a win. I mean, almost never been. You said 2 times or 3 times in 100 years. It's right around that number.
Yeah.
Think of it. Out of, you know, the elections take place every 2 years in this case. And to only win a couple of times in many, many years is hard to believe. And it doesn't make sense. And nobody's been able to define why. So I think hopefully we're going to change that, because we've had incredible. We passed a great, big, beautiful bill, tax cuts for everybody. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. Deductions if you buy a car, you take a loan from a bank, you can deduct the interest on the loan. Nobody ever thought that was going to happen. And we have so many things, and we're respected all over the world again, like we've never been respected before. I mean, we're respected. Look at NATO. NATO agreed to go from 2% to 5%, and they pay us the money. You know, we don't lose anything in terms of money. What I do want to stop in the war with Ukraine and Russia is, last week it was just reported they lost 32,000 soldiers. The week before, for the month, the month before, they lost 27,000, and the month before that, they lost 26,000 soldiers between the two of them. And I'd like to be able to save those souls. You know, it doesn't affect the United States very much. It really doesn't. We sell, you know, Biden gave them $350 billion. Can you imagine? We didn't get any of it back, but I did. Actually, I made a deal for rare earth. I said, listen, if we go any further, we want rare earth. We want to get our money back. And I made a deal with Ukraine. It was a very fair deal where we get our money back. I had to work to get the money back. This is Biden's war. This isn't my war. I would like to stop it because there's so many people being killed.
Let me go to the
mostly
economy.
soldiers, but so many people.
So I've always been a movement conservative. I've always believed in supply-side economics, starting with Reagan. At the time, 70 to 28%, he dropped the tax rates, longest period of peacetime economic growth. 21 million new jobs were created. Now, this one big, beautiful bill, largest tax cuts in history.
Yeah.
Unlike any president before you, you have secured trillions in monies dedicated to new manufacturing, right, including automobiles, semiconductor chips, rare earth would be part of it.
More than anybody has ever gotten.
Okay, so all of this is now it's going to be infused into the economy. It's in the hopper. It's going to be infused into the economy. But we just ended the third quarter with 4.3% GDP. We just have the lowest gas prices in 5 years, as you pointed out. That impacts everything. Everybody buys at every store that they go to. No tax, tips, overtime. Right. I worked in the service industry. I worked in the construction industry. That helps workers. That helps families.
Sure.
Scott Besson said that people are going to feel it in their paycheck. They're feeling it at the pump. You look at all of this. You've created a little shy of 1 million new jobs already. And that's after inheriting the economy. It's really not your economy for the first 6-8 months.
And they're private sector jobs. They're not government jobs. Don't forget, I could have the greatest numbers in history. All I have to do is hire a couple of million people, put them in government. That's what Biden did. He just put people in government. You had 10 people for one job. I did the opposite. I've trimmed down government. Any numbers that we have are with a very trimmed down government. I could come up with unemployment or employment numbers that are so good that like nobody's ever seen. Just say, fellas, hire 2 million people right now. But you can't make our country great that way. That's how you go into trouble. That's how you become Venezuela.
A lot of people don't understand. In the big, beautiful bill is something known as 100% depreciation.
Yeah.
That is putting an accelerant
1 year
on manufacturing.
Right.
You can depreciate your entire investment if you're building, for example, a manufacturing facility.
In 1 year.
In 1 year.
As opposed to 40 years.
And it may not seem like a big deal, but for people that are struggling financially, to be able to deduct the interest on your car loan,
So I had the most successful economy in the world in my first term. We did great. I think that was the single biggest. I had that, but that was for a much shorter period of time. It's not as good as this one. But that was the reason I believe that we were so successful. We had great jobs. We had great everything. We had the greatest economy. This economy will blow it away. I believe this economy is going to blow it away. But we have that, and now we have it for 10 years.
And we'll have more Hannity coming up with President Trump straight ahead.
All right, so we're at 9:55. So pretty much what Hannity is going to do at this point is probably come out and say he's going to do part 2 tomorrow, maybe. We'll see. But he's only, by the time they get back from commercial break, there's not going to be anything left for him to say. So we shall wait and see what's going on. In the interim, let me take a few of your comments while we are waiting. The riot planner is hiding out. Yeah. There's a GoFundMe. What? There's a GoFundMe for Renee Good. Should block it. May go to terrorists. Wow. Wow. Yeah, of course. And what a way to what a way to launder money. If the Supreme Court rules in favor for the tariffs and tariffs dividends to Americans. Trump is the greatest, not Ali. How could Good's wife blame herself? How could she not blame herself, actually? I say, somebody said, Barry, don't say waltz, it's walls. Okay, walls. I'll have to get that. I remember when I was doing football and I had to learn how to say Tua Tagovailoa. And so it took me a while because I said Tagovailoa. I don't know how the hell you say your name. I had to learn that too. So I'm not great with names. Another way for them to get money for sure. That's it. Great show, Barry. Thank you, Eric. Thank you very much. 650 grand. Are you effing kidding me? Wait a minute. I just saw somebody said that Renee Good GoFundMe. Hold on. Let me see this. GoFundMe for what's she got here? Oh no, it's not. No, you're wrong. It's not 650,000. It's much worse. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. When I show you this, this is going to make you guys really sick to see that this. You ready for this? I don't think you are. I don't think you're ready for this. Nearly 1.3 million, and they're still coming in. $1.3 million. And the donations just keep, look at it, they just keep coming. They tried to raise 50,000 and they ended up raising nearly $1.3 million. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. It says, pleased to support the wife of Renee Good as they grapple with the devastating loss of their wife and mother. Renee was pure sunshine, pure love. She will be desperately missed. 1.3 million probably makes a lot of that missing go away. $1.3 million. Wow. Just wow. I mean, that's stunning. That's absolutely stunning that they raised that much money for that woman. Good gosh, that's absolutely crazy. So the average, there's 32,000 people have donated. 32,000 people. I have a calculator right here. Let's see what the average donation is. Let me look that up real quick. That's mind-boggling. Calculator 1271000 divided by 32,000. Average donation of $39. 32,000 donations with an average donation of $39 equates to nearly $1.3 million. Her wife just got rich. However, before you start freaking out, before you start getting pissed off, let me just tell you something. I'm pretty sure at this point, the government, now that we're seeing she was an ICE warrior and she had been causing problems, they might step in and say, no, 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 no. I don't know if you charge people posthumously. I don't know how that works. But if you've committed a crime and you expired during the commission of that crime, should you get the money? Should you get the money if it's, basically from ill-gotten gains? Your people have donated nearly $3 million to somebody who essentially broke the law. I don't know. That doesn't sit well with me. And all the problems we've seen with, let him finish here. Oh, gosh.
This evening, as always, thank you for being with us. Thank you for making the show possible. Please set your DVR so you never, ever, ever, even when...
All right, yeah, so he's done. I knew it. He keeps saying he's coming back. I knew that was done. All right, so give me a minute to get the, what do you call it? Is that 1 million tax exempt? I don't know. It's a donation. I mean, I don't know. Depends on who's getting it, I guess. I guess that's what we'd have to figure out, but that's insane. That's insane. I'm going to put the break on, and I'm going to get the feed ready to go, and then I'll play the press conference. Hold on.
All right, good evening. My name is Mike Benner. I'm the Public Information Manager here at the Portland Police Bureau. I want to welcome everybody and thank you for joining us on such short notice. We're here to address the shooting incident involving federal agents in Southeast Portland earlier this afternoon. We have a number of speakers, including Mayor Keith Wilson, Governor Tina Kotek, and many others who I will let introduce themselves as they come to the podium. We'll begin with Chief Bob Day, who will share some details about the shooting and then some of those remarks of his, and we'll go on from there. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. I'm going to share just a few details. As you're aware, this is still very active investigation, so information is limited and won't be speaking to a lot of specifics. But what I can say is that approximately 2:18 this afternoon, Portland police officers responded to the 10,000 block of Southeast Main Street on the report of a shooting. So it came in via a 911 call. Officers confirmed that federal agents had been involved in a shooting. Portland police were not involved in that incident. About 6 minutes later, at 2:24 p.m., officers received information, once again through dispatch, that a man who had been shot was calling and requesting help in the area of Northeast 146th and East Burnside. Our officers responded. We found a male and a female with apparent gunshot wounds. Officers applied a tourniquet and summoned emergency medical personnel. The patients were transported to local hospital, and their conditions at this time are unknown. Officers had determined that the two people who were injured in the shooting involving the federal agents from the earlier call. PPB officers secured both scenes, and this is a federal investigation. It's being led by the FBI. We have been in touch with them. We are, in regular contact. This is their responsibility. But when we have these type of events happen in the city, Portland Police Bureau does offer a level of assistance. This is not any way, shape, or form immigration related on our end. We do not know the facts of this case. We are simply providing that traditional investigative support and perimeter support, which is minimal. But I do want to make it clear that we are out there, but we are not involved in immigration. And we at this time do not know if this is an immigration related event. We do not know which federal, as we know there are many federal agencies serving in the city of Portland right now. So as I said, it's a complex situation with a lot of different information coming out. But Portland Police is on the scene, the detectives, et cetera. I want to say, that I'm saddened that we are here once again in a difficult, challenging, complex situation. But I'm also incredibly grateful for Portlanders. I'm grateful for the way that we have continued to show up over the past year, and we have certainly been tested. And this is no small circumstance. The uncertainty and the fear and the sadness within our community is real. And as the chief law enforcement of the city of Portland, I recognize that. Our members recognize that. And we are doing everything in our power to maintain that level of peace and calm and safety. And I want to thank Portlanders who have continued to show up in this space as well, and hopeful that they will do so over the next couple of days, as I'm expecting many to want to express their frustration and disappointment with events today. As I said, this is early on. We do not know the cause, but we are engaged, and hopefully we'll have more information as the evening unfolds. I'm going to turn it over now to Mayor Wilson.
Thank you, Chief. And it's what also federal government says happened here. There was a time when we could take them at their word. That time is long past. That is why we are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place. Our community deserves answers. Our community deserves accountability. And most of all, our community deserves peace. Earlier today, I spoke with...
I really wanted to show this, but as you can see, there's nobody from ICE there. It's a whole cacophony and herd of the idiots. And I looked for a summary of it, and this thing goes on for an hour, and all they do is bash ICE. I mean, I'm looking for that's the mayor coming, and he's saying he doesn't want people there. And they've got priests coming on and leaders and all these people from these different organizations who are going to do nothing but bash ICE. You guys, let me let you hear this woman. This is the state's attorney or whatever, because listening to her will give you the entirety of what these people are saying, and then we can just cut it off, because my gosh, this is ridiculous. Here, take a listen.
Wanting peace and safety in our communities. We are all shaken and outraged by another terrible, unnecessary, violent event instigated by the reckless agenda of the Trump administration. This time in our own state, in our largest city, coming just one day after the tragedy in Minnesota. While the details of the incident remain limited, one thing is very clear. When a president endorses tearing families apart.
Now, see, I can't do it. I can't sit here for an hour and listen to these morons bash the president, even though she just said the details are pretty sketchy. We don't have the details yet. Well, then why are you holding a press conference? Well, it's because you wanted any opportunity to come out there and bash Trump. I ain't doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not tired. I just don't want to fill my head with that before I go to sleep. This is insane. They get out there, trash the president, get out of here, get out of our town. It ain't happening, people. He's not leaving. Man, libtards got to be libtarding, I guess. I guess that's what they got to be doing, and they're not making any bones about it that they just don't want any sort of law enforcement. I hope you guys are okay with that. I just can't. I can't sit there and listen to these people at 10 o'clock at night just do the same old shit. Excuse my language. Unbelievable where we are as a country right now. And I don't mean that in terms of anything bad. Things are looking so good, and we've got an entire half of the country that can do nothing but bitch, complain. And it's not even about Americans. That, to me, that's the worst part about it. I could understand if they were standing up for Americans and saying what they're doing here is bad for America. It's not even for Americans. They've completely bent over backwards for newcomers, fraudsters. I don't understand it. I could understand it from the political standpoint. You need these people to vote for you. How did you convince all these idiots that that was good? Man, I mean, it's pretty much cut and dry, isn't it? These people aren't supposed to be here. They're causing problems. They're trying to ram vehicles into people. And instead of coming out and saying there's bad guys who did bad things, they're from a gang in Venezuela, Tren de Aragua. Instead of just calling the spade a spade, it's Trump's fault. Man, I don't know who's calling all the shots here, but these people, there's something really wrong with them. And I don't see it changing anytime soon. These people are absolute nutbags. And worse, I think they're willing to, as they keep saying, fight for their cause. What cause? Can somebody tell me what cause that they're trying to fight for, that they got to win it? What are you looking to win? You need anarchy to survive. This Democrat Party is built on anarchy, and that's just how it's going to be. And so I don't wish that President Trump would come out with the Insurrection Act. I just don't see any other way around it. We cannot let these people ever get back in power. We can't subjugate ourselves to what they will do to us, how they will treat your property, how they will, all the different things that they want to do. Taking your little boys and turning them into little girls, it's insane. And for what purpose? Why can't they just be happy? Please, I don't understand. Just be happy. I don't mean to be mad myself, but gosh, at some point we have to look at this stuff and say, these people are bat poop crazy. Crazy. Starfleet, thank you. Spakowski, Lumberjack Logic brought some different views on live video. Yeah, he's crazy. Mishigas, we are with you. We are holding the line. Unleash hell. Yep, trust the plan. And we're seeing some of that stuff come out. And some people are like, Fakazi, the plan is at least 4 years old. No, it's probably a little bit older than that. It started when someone said it takes a village to raise a child. Ryzen Phoenix. The clock has struck 12. The old days are over. It's a new day. It has begun. Wake up, people. Ecclesiastes 3:18. I'm going to have to go look that up. Now you've given me some homework. Melvin Blodgett dabbled in poetry. Roses are red, violets are blue. Running down ice ages makes them shoot you. Hold on. I gotta give it up for that one. Oh my goodness, Melvin. Cutting edge. So the TDA is the ones giving training to them. This will be another charge to Maduro. Pekowski, I'm one of the 80 million. I am one of the 80 million. That should be a t-shirt. I am one of the 80 million. Hear me roar. Charge Waltz, Whoopi, Rogue, all of them. They should be with incitement. And it's only going to get worse. I'm serious. If you don't have one or live in an area where you aren't allowed to have one, pray for you. Hello, Tilly. To all my fanfare family, missed you and big hugs. Hope you're feeling better. Lisa Osler, no one's talking about the shooting in Salt Lake City. Didn't even hear about that one. I'll have to look that one up tonight. Thank you. Hey, Tilly, Barry, you're such an inspiration that God sent to me. I'm so blessed to have found you. God bless you and thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Sad situation, Vielka. Sad situation in Minnesota. Police scared the community, and leadership scared of Somalians. Well, then ask for help. Vielka, Minnesota mayor's wife, was president of daycare centers and mysteriously resigned January 2026. Beverly Litton, I wonder if our enemies, Russia, China, terrorists, domestic and foreign, will unite to tear us down. Well, I don't think they want any part of that. They would be number one, they'd have to travel halfway around the world. Beverly Litton, please go after Soros. Yeah, at least the son. I think the dad is kind of whacked right now. Tinley, one anonymous donated 50,000 to the Renee Good Fund. Probably one of the Democrat politicians. Neo, thank you for Truthberry. Only more fraud is their only solution and more noise against President Trump, who only wants more for MAGA. They are lost. Indeed. Thank you, Neo. And Jimmy, is there a report on border agents whipping the migrants in Portland? That was a good one. Hey, before I let you go, let me check President's schedule for tomorrow. Notice he said something that there's a whole bunch of business guys coming to the White House. When I hear that kind of stuff, I think immediately, oh boy, he's got something planned. So let me look and see what exactly, if they posted it. Yeah, we're after 10. They usually posted. Oh, they posted all weekend. Hold on. So, Friday. Where's Friday? Wednesday, Thursday. They skipped Friday. I can show you what I look at. This is what happens because they mess up their announcements and we never can tell what the heck is going to be happening. Let me show you the schedule. All right, so this is the schedule for, hold on, roll call. Where's the schedule? Trump schedule. You see Friday? Nope, I don't see anything Friday. Let me look here on another site and see if they've got the schedule so we can see what tomorrow brings. Because I do one show on Friday, and then we do a couple one on no more weekend shows here. Roll call. I don't have it. Trump schedule. Hold on, one more try here. Okay, here we go. What happened here? Nope, I don't see it. One last time, let me try it on this monitor and see if it comes up because I believe I have it saved over here. Let's see. Yeah, I do. All right, got it. And that way I can show it to you guys as well real quick here. And you get an idea of what we're looking at tomorrow. And I can't really tell as I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you because I want you to know what I'm up against and how I try to find out what the heck is going on. And then when it's like this, we can't find anything. All right. So sorry, I'm just talking to myself as I'm bringing this stuff in so you guys can see it. Got it. All right. So this is President Trump's schedule that's posted. It usually comes out about 10 o'clock at night. And this is Thursday, which is today. And it goes from Thursday, January 8th to Saturday. So the 9th isn't even showing for some reason. I have no idea why the 9th isn't showing. So that means they're going to probably update it tomorrow at the last minute. So Saturday, he's got nothing. And he's probably, since it says out of town, that means he's probably heading back down here. Let's see what it says for Sunday. For Sunday, what is this? What is this? Sunday, look, oh no, they messed this completely. Whoever entered it didn't enter it. It looks like there's a meeting. I bet you this is Friday right here. I bet you it's Secretary of State tomorrow, but it says closed press. It won't be on the air. Closed press, closed press. And here it is. This is the one. He said that they were coming. President Trump participates in a meeting with oil and gas executives. But I don't know if it's going to be here or in Palm Beach because it says out of town. So I guess we'll have to just wait. Sorry for all that. I don't know what's going to be happening tomorrow till we wake up and see the actual schedule. So that's how hard it is to follow what this guy is doing. But whatever he's doing, if he posts, we will be there. I got a whole bunch of stuff I could talk to you about tomorrow anyway. Thank you guys for tuning into the evening show. I'm sorry about that Portland thing. Wackos. Talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.